there. It's the last working day of the week, and I know most of you are happy because the weekend beckons. I'm also happy, not just because the weekend is here, but because I get to spend some time with you right here on the JoyNews Interactive show on the Joy News channel. You can join the conversation on social media. That's on JoyNews on TV. I'm Noella Karen Yali. Now, you're welcome back, and the biggest issue now is Akuapem Poloo's conviction. Now, actress Akuapem Poloo, born Rosemond Brown, has been handed a 90-day jail sentence by an Akuapem court over naked pictures with her son. Now, the conviction comes after she posted a naked picture with her son on Instagram celebrating his 7th birthday. Now, handing her judgment, Judge Christian Khan expressed discontent with the alarming rate with which nudity has become a thing in the country, especially on our social media space. Now, she said it is important the court takes sanctions for the message to go down with everyone, how wrong it is for you to share your nudity on social media. Now, the judge added that the actress is being punished to serve as a disincentive or a deterrent to others. And joining me on Zoom is George Quay, who's an industry critic. Basically, we're going to have a conversation around her sentencing. But before that, it's instructive to note that prior to her sentencing, she did apologize to Ghanaians via a video she shared on social media with her son. But like I said, joining me on Zoom to discuss her sentencing and what it means for our showbiz industry is George Quay, who is host of Showbiz A to Z on Joy 99.7 FM. You're welcome, George.
Thank you very much, Nola. How are you doing?
I'm awesome. So first of all, what's your reaction? How are you reacting to the sentence?
Well, it's mixed. I mean, as an industry person and a friend to Rosemond Brown, or somebody who identifies her as an industry colleague, this is nothing that you'd wish on anyone. So from that score, from that viewpoint, it is sad, it's painful. You would have wished it were not like that. Because look, I have a chat with Seth Kwame Boateng, who did that beautiful documentary on the prisons. He will tell you that spending even a night in there, even an hour in there, even 10 minutes in there, isn't a thing you would want to wish on anyone.
Right.
So from that point of view, it is very sad. However, again, a couple of weeks ago, Counsel Samson Ladia Yineni and I had a chat on a Sunday afternoon show on Joy News TV, Just the Law, where we discussed this matter related to nudity. And, that apparently there was a law, which a lot of people didn't know, that if you exposed yourself that way, I mean, you could go to jail, even up to 25 years,
right.
I gathered from that show. So when you look at the matter of law, and you also look at the way society has become so, what should I call it? I don't want to say sort of accepting nudity, but rather nudity becoming a norm for this generation. I mean, people aren't afraid to expose themselves. People aren't afraid to show themselves. I mean, some of us talk about sex late night on some of our shows, and even that one, you have to be careful. You can't just say or do anything. You have to be careful. It goes very, very, very late into the night, and you have to be a little euphemistic with some of the things that you say. So when you look at the way some people freely and openly expose and show themselves, their stuff on social media these days, it is quite worrisome. So you'd welcome it as some sort of a deterrent. Just that, as a friend, you sympathize. But if you want to be a sane person and you want to be frank, you'd welcome it and hope that it's a deterrent, because social media has become so prevalent. It's become so accessible. Kids have phones now for security reasons. Parents give kids as young as 9 smartphones, and they can access some of these things. And they follow some of these popular people, and you'd have to be careful the kind of example you give them.
That's right. But George, what impact will you say her sentencing will have on our showbiz industry, considering the fact that our industry for a long while now have been centered around, nudity?
We pray that it sends some sort of a warning. One thing I do know for sure is that our space has a lot of people who are observant and they listen, and a lot of people who would not want to be silly. I mean, if Akuapem Poloo, who a lot of people also love, I mean, you all saw the campaign for her on social media. A lot of celebrities came out strongly to speak against the sentence. A lot of celebrities came out strongly to ask that she was forgiven and all that. And if the judge, I'm sure, had all these pleas and still went ahead to pass the 3-month, or should I say 90-day sentence, then it tells you that this is something that they really bent on weeding out of society.
Right.
And I think we should all join the fight and, find a way to, clear nudity out of our system. Because like it or yes, Noella, it is a problem.
Right.
I mean, there are ladies on social media who cannot put up a picture without finding a way to throw in some level of nudity, showing parts of the breast, showing the backside and all those things. I mean, there are ways you can do it tastefully and nicely and still be decent about it. Those that do it and put it in your face, that utter vulgarity and all those things, that is what we need to find a way to weed out of society.
Right.
So I pray that with this sentence, everybody's going to take a cue. Everybody's going to learn some sort of a lesson. And then together we can fight this battle and, one day at a time. There are a lot of things we need to fight, but if we start here, we can go a lot further.
Right. So would you also say that still on, the subject, but shifting our focus to music videos, would you say that music video directors should begin to rethink how they put their music videos together in terms of content?
Is it a case for music video directors alone, or is it a case for creative space in general? Because look, a musician does a song. Sometimes you listen to some of the lyrics of these songs, and Noella, you can just try this when you get home this evening. Play certain songs, close your eyes, forget the video that you have seen, and try putting yourself in the shoes of the director, and try to ascribe scenes to some of those lyrics. Try to juxtapose them with scenes. Try to picture and imagine them. And this isn't an issue that started today. You understand? It's been something from time immemorial. So if you want to look at it from that perspective, then we ought to look at it from some of the lyrics that are written by some of our musicians. And this isn't just musicians of today. I mean, the musicians that started this years ago, there are songs that I could list from A.B. Krenzel to Daddy Lumba to Kojo Akwai, you name them. The songs are there. And if you are a music video director, and they will tell you that there are people that write lyrics with light. That is how a lot of music video directors describe themselves. They write lyrics with light. So if you're supposed to translate the lyrics that a musician has written with light and give them visuals, that is basically the concept of music video. Try to give the song some sort of life,
right,
so that people can connect with it. Maybe a crazy dance move in there that creates a sensation, goes viral, people jump onto the song and all that. So if we're going to look at it from that perspective, then we ought to look at it holistically, and then speak to musicians, speak to producers, speak to directors, and everybody in the value chain, because it is not a case for just one person. We cannot just single out the music video director. The music video director is interpreting something that was given to him. It is like when I write a script and send it to a television film director. I send a script to a Shelley Manso. Her duty would be to, interpret the script by ascribing scenes to them and bringing them to life through imagery. You understand? So we cannot just blame the music video directors. But then again, we also ought to bring in women's groups at this time. Because a lot of the times you watch some of these music videos and the gentlemen in there are well dressed. They have their clothes on. They have their shoes on. In fact, when you watch music videos, you'd say that is where a lot of guys dress their best. But the women in those same videos are naked. I mean, how much are you getting paid to be naked anyway? You understand? So this is where women also ought to speak for their fellow women and let them know that, look, sometimes looking all sexy is not really that cool. We all understand the fact that sex sells. So maybe economically, that is their escape, or that is their way to generate or raise some revenue. But it doesn't mean we should condone and endorse and fund it and fuel it and keep it going. Women should also speak to their fellow women. Women should also question why women are the ones who are always naked in music videos. Why can't the men also show their backsides?
So, George, still on the subject, her sentencing has sort of sparked a conversation on social media, and I've been monitoring some of the comments that have been being shared on social media, and a lot of people believe she shouldn't have, pled guilty, especially when her case was with the state. I mean, do you share the same sentiments?
it's a tricky one. I am not a lawyer, but I do believe that in every case, sometimes it is good that we give it a best shot. Initially, from what I gather, she pled not guilty, and then she pleaded not guilty, and then she came back to plead guilty. Personally, if you ask me, look, why are lawyers called counsel sometimes? I mean, not sometimes. Lawyers are actually called counsel. They are called counsel because it is actually their duty to advise their clients and give you the best sort of counsel in every situation. And in an instance like this, well, I do not know the merit or demerit, neither do I know. I cannot say for sure I've read the full details of the charges that were leveled against her, but I would want to believe that her counsel gave her the best advice. If that advice is what has landed her 3 months in jail, well, it is still debatable. We may have to speak to a lawyer like Counsel Laden Samson, who probably might advise us that, look, in the scheme of things, when you read the charges against her, you look at the facts that were against her. And again, Noella, let us not be quick to condemn the lawyer, because this is an issue that had evidence. The evidence was there. You posted it. It was there. She might have taken it down at some point, but I'm sure the case, the state in making their case had, gathered some evidence and has shown the evidence in court. And if the law speaks against what she had done and she didn't have any reason for doing them, then I do not know what kind of conversations she had with her lawyer, but maybe this might have been the best counsel. Also, because if it didn't go that way, how long would she have been going for if the state found her guilty? 25, 30, 15 years, 10 years, or how many penalty points would she have been charged? This morning, I was listening to Counsel Laden Samson on Joy 99.7 with Winston, and he did mention something about some 5,000 or 500 penalty points, which amounted to about 6,000 cedis or 3-year jail term and stuff like that. So if we consider some of all these, and the sentence is 3 months, we may be tempted to say that in the scheme of things, at least it's a deterrent. Now we all know that if you go exposing yourself, showing stuff that you shouldn't be showing, you could go in. And this is a clear example. Now the law can make a reference to this case and give the next person an even longer sentence. Again, as a friend, as an industry colleague, I would have wished she was forgiven.
Now, some also believe that, George, the campaign or protest, if you like, staged by her, colleague entertainers for her release or less harsh punishment might have done her some harm. Do you agree?
I do not totally agree. I would not agree because I have confidence in our legal system, and I don't think a judge is going to get swayed this way or that way by some public outcry whatsoever. Again, flipping quickly to the other side, our judges are human, and they have feelings, they have emotions. And sometimes, depending on the way an appeal is pushed, it may either arouse some level of empathy or sympathy toward the case, toward the sentencing and everything, or otherwise. Because for all you know, maybe the judge might have been thinking, oh, this is Rosemont Brown. She has a kid and everything. I mean, listening to her and looking at the state of things, she probably genuinely didn't know this could have landed her here. We've made the case. Now everybody knows. So let me just give her some one-week community service. Let her go and sweep from Circle to Bechabilante or something. Let her do something that is still going to send the word out there. But let me not throw her in for 3 months. But then again, when celebrities start making noise, the same judge will say, look at these people. You people are the ones who perpetrate the most nudity. And we are coming to talk. You are now coming to say, let her go, let her go. And you are now coming to tell us who has committed much bigger crimes and are walking about. Right. So let her go in for 3 months. So again, it's neither here nor there. It could have influenced or maybe not. And if it did influence, it could have been a positive influence or otherwise. You never know. Maybe the judge is also human. Maybe the judge has a favorite celebrity in there. Maybe the judge loves Sarkodie so much. And when the judge sees Sarkodie's plea, the judge might be, touched or otherwise. So it is a very difficult thing to tell. The only person who can say that for sure would be the judge. But again, looking at it from a human perspective, it is neither here nor there. It could have worked. Maybe it didn't work. It could have been the one that piss the judge off to throw in these 3 years.
Right.
Maybe it could have been the one that mitigated a year to 3 months. These 3 months. Maybe it could have been the same appeal that mitigated an otherwise 3 years to 3 months. We would never know.
So, George, let's stay a little bit on her sentencing. I mean, do you think that as a nation, we should start thinking about how to embrace community service instead of, sentencing in some cases?
The thing is this, you see, we come from a space where sometimes even community service is seen as corporate social responsibility. We've seen a lot of individuals and corporate institutions embark on cleanup exercises. Gus Miller went to clean the beaches when nobody had sent him to, and all those things. So it is not a community that sees community service as what is seen as in other jurisdictions. You understand me? So maybe it is something that we could start looking at. Again, as I did mention, community service would have been good, but would it have sent the right message to all of us in the creative space?
Right.
Because I'm sure if Rosemont Brown had been given a community service and she had been told to maybe go to Malamata Market and clean the market tomorrow, Saturday morning, and do it for the next 4 Saturdays, consecutive Saturdays. Trust me, people probably would have printed T-shirts and joined Rosemont Brown to clean Malata Market. And people will probably not have felt the impact of that sentence because they would have seen it as, oh, we are all doing it and all that, blah, blah, blah. The import may not have been felt as it should have. Again, I want to believe that the judge took in every single consideration before passing this sentence. It may be harsh, it may be painful, but I think it is just to serve as a deterrent to each and every single one of us, including you, so that we would all be mindful of what we put out there.
So, George, before I let you go, let me ask this last question about how difficult it will be for her to stage a comeback in terms of her career. Because prior to the sentencing, I mean, she had secured a role in Nigeria for an up-and-coming, I think reality TV show. And unfortunately, she's been served with this sentencing. So let's look at her life after the 90 days. Will it be difficult for her to stage a comeback?
I think it depends on how she approaches it. Yesterday was yesterday that was Bulldog's birthday?
Yeah.
Or the day before?
Yesterday.
And I saw Bulldog do a presentation to some inmates and some prisons and stuff like that, and all those things, and I thought that was good because if there's anyone who has had, various clashes with the law at various points, that must be Bulldog. Bulldog, I remember once visiting him behind bars at Cantonment Police Station. That was during the Fennec Autry death issue and all those things. And he's turned it into something positive. You understand? It could become an annual celebration, something that is celebrated in honor of Bulldog to go help friends in prison and all those things. So it all depends on how Rosemont Brown decides to embrace it and turn it around. 3 months looks a lot in prison terms, but in all honesty, it is not a lot. We're just about to enter May, June, July. By middle of July or something like that, she may be out.
Okay.
And when she comes out, I think she has earned some sort of experience to be able to speak to issues pertaining in our prisons, and there are a lot of issues in there. For all you know, this might be God sending Rosemont Brown there to identify a problem that is going to make her a star bigger than she is when she went in. So let us always look on the bright side. Look, there are a lot of us who a lot of bad things have been thrown our way. And in going through them, we've come out better. In going through them, we have identified something better. You understand me? So let us not throw our hands up in despair. Let us rather, stand in solidarity with our sister. Those of us who can visit her within these 3 months, let us do that. Let us still try to make it a bit more comfortable for her. And let us pray that while in there, God shines some light, God opens some door, God drops that $1 million idea that she's going to pick up from those bars, from behind those bars, and come out bigger, better, and much more successful. She needs it for herself, she needs it for her family, and most importantly, for her son. Right.
George, thank you so much. But this conversation will continue on Showbiz A to Z tomorrow, right?
Definitely. We're going to touch on that on Showbiz
what else
A to Z tomorrow.
Expect?
And it's going to be a very exciting edition because we are unveiling our very first act for Unveil. Unveil was something we decided to start this year, and we're starting with MTN Hitmaker winner Last Minute. who was signed on to KO's highly spiritual music, and dude has got some great things coming up. So you don't want to miss that show from 2 p.m. tomorrow on Joy 99.7 FM. I'm back from leave. It's going to be exciting.
George, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow. And thank you for having a conversation with us.
Thank you, Nola.
So you heard from George Quay. George Quay is the host of Showbiz A to Z on Joy 99.7 FM. And basically, he's been having a conversation with me around the sentencing of actress Rosemond Alade Brown, or you know her as Akuapem Poloo. Now, you have been reacting to the story on social media. So let's go straight to our Facebook page and take a look at some of your comments. So the first comment is by Nana Kweku Boating, who says, I don't support the jail sentence, but she should be punished. So many stupid and foolish things on social media. Okay, so Evan Sakansi says, this conviction, I beg your pardon, is sad and very unfortunate. If there's room for appeal against the verdict, I think her lawyer or lawyers should do so without delay. And also Benaro Sakaparo Alazura. That's a beautiful name. Oh, Echo, kindly scroll back up. Okay, so let's do that message from Roland Sark Jackson, who says, it's well, now that the laws are being put to practice in this country, others will learn. And okay, I missed that comment as well. So let's do a JOS comment, which says, it is also important to notice how politicians are stealing and misleading the whole country, and it's also time for them to be charged and prosecuted. And also, Akosia Sewa says, by now she's throwing plates, ladles, cups against the wall, jubilating because she's gotten the attention. Osei Tutu also says, where did our judges have your education? JJ Shalom says, oh, sorry, Poloo. We wanted a scapegoat and you fell into that trap. Sorry again, sister, but please, after serving that sentence, please be careful with the nudity, okay? Now, Fatima Datsi says, well, that would have been well served if that same law applies to corrupt politicians. What happened to community service? Well, we asked that question. We posed that question to George Quay, and he had a lot to say about it. Abigail Amunu says, so what of those caught in corrupt acts, etc.? Kwesi Blue says, great. How now make the law catch people like Moesha, Bintu, and other stuff. So basically, those were some of your comments on social media. Pretty harsh, but you can expect that. And also on Twitter, she's trending at #1, as you can see, with 1.3 thousand tweets at the moment. And okay, actually 13,000, not 1.3, 13,000 tweets. So basically, a lot of people have a lot to say about her sentence, and as well as prison being also trending at #2 with 103,000 tweets. And of course, it's in line with Akuapem Poloo because she will begin her 90-day journey in prison today. Quite unfortunate. But you know, prior to her sentencing, her colleagues on social media staged a protest, if you like, or campaign for her to be freed or given a less harsh punishment. And I brought you some of those tweets. If you can have that on our screens, I'll quickly read through it. So Sarkodia said, I think it's a little harsh to separate a mom from a child. That's what he had to say. And also Stoneboy says, I beg you people, in the name of God, I believe it would do Poloo more harm than good. Now, Mr. Desmond Blackmore, that's D Black, says, let's raise our voices for Rosemond and her son. This isn't the best suited correctional directive. Too harsh a judgment for the caliber of offense. Lift your voices for Rosemond Brown. And also Lydia Forson, who's an actress, says, you don't have to like Akuapem Poloo or her antics. And trust me, as someone who suffered because of the many hurtful accusations she's leveled against me, I completely understand your reservations. But this is a miscarriage of justice. And she actually continues and says, this case isn't just about her. It's about a system that continues to be selective when it comes to the law. Justice on who gets prosecuted and for what crime. So those were some of the, tweets that came in for Akuapem Poloo prior to her sentencing. But in case you just joined us, this is the Joy News Interactive show right here on the Joy News channel. And basically, we've been having a conversation around the sentencing of actress Akuapem Poloo. Today, she begins her 90-day prison journey. And it's quite unfortunate, but we had a lot to talk about this, topic. George Quay came in and had a lot to say. The conversation will continue with him on his Showbiz A to Z show. That's on Joy FM tomorrow. So you should anticipate that conversation.